Guys, we're so close now to the flip the switch moment where XRP goes absolutely parabolic. And the reason why I say that is now with the new administration and the new crypto-friendly environment that is developing in the United States in terms of regulations and the SEC and funding and outlook and political sort of leanings, the banks are starting to come out of the closet. I'm going to play some clips as evidence today. You've probably seen most of these clips before, but I hope that I can offer a new perspective to some of these clips and show you some evidence of what's happening in the past and in the background so that we can tie some of it together. I made a video about a year and a half ago about R3, and some of the information that I shared in that video sort of comes to light today and put some of this stuff in perspective. So I'm going to kick it off with this video, and this is one of the friendly banks. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, all banks are there to make money, but at least the people from this bank, you would notice, at least understand what they're talking about, right? And they haven't been hiding it. BNY Mellon CEO Robin Vince talks digital assets and possibilities. I'm also going to react to a video by JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon. I just listen and compare the level of savvy between these two guys.
You sounded optimistic about crypto when we talked. Are you more optimistic now based on who the Trump administration is? We may have a crypto czar now. We seem like crypto regulations will be looser. And does BNY want to play a role in the community?
Well, we've said this for the past couple of years, and we've been consistent, and we haven't changed our point of view on this, which is digital assets represent a new, interesting, innovative technology, which we think could be important to the financial system over the course of the next 10, 20 years. Exactly the twists and turns along the way, we'll have to see. But we've been investing. We've got the ability to cut.
All right. How refreshing, right? He says we've been investing. There's no double talk. There's no, Bitcoin is going to zero. There's no sort of slamming the system, trying to be duplicitous and, sneaky. I'll just let the rest play.
Custody, crypto assets, digital assets, but also we're looking into the interesting smart contracts, ledger capabilities that the underlying technologies represent. And so we think there's an interesting future here, but AI as well. Remember, it's not just about digital assets. It's about how does technology get applied to make the financial system better, more agile, more capable, and able to grow. And AI is going to be an important part of that story too.
So true. You sounded
All right. So I don't know if this guy is just particularly interested in crypto and has educated himself on it, but he speaks with such knowledge and, he's not waffling, he's not making things up. And, he touched on AI, touched on underlying ledger technology, all of it making sense, right? Now, let's circle back a little bit to someone slightly less intelligent, or maybe too intelligent and sneaky. Right. This is our favorite CEO, Jamie Dimon.
If you mean crypto like Bitcoin, I've always said it's a fraud.
No hope for it.
Well, if they think they're a currency, there's no hope for it. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a public decentralized
Crypto.
All right. It's a public decentralized Ponzi scheme. Right. So he said that in 2024. Right. 2024. He said that. OK. What else did he say? Round about 2024-ish. Okay, what else did he say to the government?
Opposed to crypto, Bitcoin, etc. You pointed out the only true use case for it is criminals, drug traffickers, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, and that is a use case because it is somewhat anonymous, not fully, and because you can move money instantaneously, and because it doesn't go through, as you mentioned, all these systems have built up over many years, know your customers, sanctions, OFAC. They can get bypass all of that.
Now, can I just make 2 points? First of all, right, what he's moaning about is that the establishment dinosaur systems are being bypassed. All of the systems has been set up over hundreds of years that enable banks like JP Morgan to have a chokehold on global finances are being bypassed by this one technology. Now, can I just look at the look on the faces of the people around him? He knows something, right? He's thinking, yeah, sure, buddy. And look at the, I don't know, man. All right, let's play the rest of it.
If I was the government, I'd close it down.
Okay, so he wants. So let's get this straight. He thinks it's a Ponzi scheme. It's a fraud. It's for criminal activity for his use case, right? So much so that he wants the government to shut it down. He's saying this in 2024, right? So this is just last year. So it's a recent belief. Now, let's listen to what else he said. Okay, he said this in 2020, I think this was 2021 even. So this is a while back.
That is the end use case. Everything else is...
Oh, no, sorry. So he said this is his most recent one, right?
So we pivot to a topic that I know you find sort of laborious at this point.
It's a good word.
Which is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
This ETF was approved just about a week ago now, and I think a lot of people are trying to understand what it ultimately means.
Okay, so this is after the ETF has been approved, okay? So this is an ETFs, remember that?
JP Morgan, I imagine if you were a client of JP Morgan, you could call your broker and say, get me some of this ETF. What are you telling your brokers to tell them back when they make that call?
Yeah. So this is an important thing. This is the last time I've ever talked about this in CNBC. Okay, so help me God. Blockchain is real. It's a technology. We use it. It's going to move money. It's going to move data. It's efficient. We've been talking about that for 12 years too, and it's very small. Okay, so I think we've wasted too many words in that.
Can I just stop you there? Yes, this is actually true. Jamie Dimon is telling the truth. Shock horror. Blockchain has been around in the financial systems and the banks for many, many years, right? They use it all the time. It's a database system that banks have used for ages, completely separate to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and what have you, right? The blockchain technology itself is one that banks have used for a long time and still use now, okay? Because it's a very efficient way to store information, to make it incorruptible, transparent within the organization, right? Obviously, they're closed blockchains and they're permissioned blockchains within the organization, right? Anyway, carry on.
Cryptocurrencies, there are two types. There's a cryptocurrency which might actually do something. Think of a cryptocurrency as an embedded smart contract in it, and then we can use it to buy and sell real estate and move data. That may have value.
The idea of tokenizing.
Tokenizing things that you do something with.
Shout out to XRP.
And then there's one which does nothing. I call it the pet rock, the Bitcoin or something like that. And so on the Bitcoin, there's first of
all right, the Bitcoin. What on earth is the Bitcoin? The Bitcoin or something like that. See how he talks it down, right? And notice how he's completely ignored the question about the ETFs so far. So he thinks cryptos or blockchains that can have smart contracts or blockchains that can handle tokenization, which is obviously XRP Ledger, he at least believes that those have a use case. So even though he's being duplicitous and sneaky and being an absolute reptile, at least he gives a shout out to...
I'm not trying to make a joke here.
XRP.
There are use cases. AML, fraud, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, sex trafficking. Those are real use cases, and you see it being used for hundreds, maybe $50 or $100 billion a year for that.
And can you notice how year after year he keeps saying anti-money laundering? What he means is money laundering. Anti-money laundering is a good thing, okay?
That is the end use case. Everything else is people train among themselves. So
Speculate.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now, my last statement, the last time I ever talk about Bitcoin is I defend your right to do Bitcoin. I think, it's okay. I don't want to tell you what to do. So my personal advice was don't get involved. But I don't want to tell any one of you what to do. It's a free country.
What do you make of the other firms, the BlackRocks of the world that obviously, and Larry Fink changed his view of this, obviously.
Yeah.
And maybe he changed his view because you think he genuinely believes in Bitcoin or believes it because he thinks that there's a marketplace for it and he wants to be part of that market. But what do you think of there's about a dozen big financial companies, Fidelity included.
Number one, I don't care.
No, of course you do. Now, he's brought up Fidelity, BlackRock, the obvious, elephant in the room. These are bigger organizations than JP Morgan offering ETFs now. We know for sure that JP Morgan is recommending those ETFs to his clients, but he's going to go, I don't get involved. I'm willing to bet that he holds Bitcoin personally. And the way he talks about it, I defend your right to do Bitcoin, as if, it's a kind of drug. It's amazing.
So just please stop talking about this shit. And
And he even uses profanity on national TV.
I don't know what he would say about blockchain versus currencies that do something versus Bitcoin that does nothing. And maybe that's not different than me. But, this is what makes a market. People have opinions. This is the last time I'm ever going to state my opinion.
Well, that's not true, because he talked about it literally a day after that. Okay, so what else? So we've listened to a very intelligent person. One more video, back to intelligent people, and, rolling back to 2025 with Trump administration kicking off a whole bunch of regulations. What is actually the problem? What's actually going on?
There's still 4,000 banks, so it's not like there's consider the disaggregation industries.
Let me ask you a separate question, and Becky's got one back in Washington, but on crypto. We just had Brian Armstrong sitting in the seat that you were in, and obviously there's a lot of excitement about crypto. The banking business, for the most part, has stayed away from crypto. Given President Trump's full-throated support for crypto, do you imagine Bank of America is going to be full on in the crypto business if we have this conversation 12 months, 24 months from now?
I'd separate out this sort of crypto versus...
All right, so this is the Bank of America CEO. This was the guy that was sitting right next to JP Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon, when he said to the government that, it's a fraud, close it down. And I pointed out, look at the look on his face, the look of disgust. He's still sort of, I don't know, maybe that's just the way he looks, but he had that sort of, what is this guy talking about? I know for sure that we're both buying Bitcoin. Anyway, let's see what
stable assets and digital movement of money, because we already move the vast majority of our money digitally. Our consumers do, our companies do. And so the question is, what's the business practice that you have to move another type of currency? So if the rules come in and make it a real thing that you can actually do business with, you will find that the banking system will come in hard on the transactional side of it, non-anonymous, transactional, verified, etc. Because we have to, because it's just another way our customers are going to.
The other thing we're talking about.
See, now they're telling the truth. So this is the Bank of America CEO saying, look, it's inevitable. This system has got to happen. We've got to move to the new system. We see you over there with your XRP ledger. Maybe not necessarily directly on XRP he's talking about, but we will find out in a minute why I think XRP is basically the future of all of this stuff.
Was the possibility that Bitcoin and some of these cryptocurrencies actually are a threat to the U.S. dollar? Scott Bessent's talked about needing the U.S. dollar to be super powerful.
Yeah.
Is it a threat?
I think there's a whole bunch of dynamics about all the trade and all the consumption of the U.S. consumer and all this stuff that goes on. But I think we do need a strong U.S. dollar. We need a U.S. dollar to be reserve currency. It's good for our country. But what I'm saying is, if you go down the street here and you go in and buy lunch,
right?
If you can pay with Visa, MasterCard, a debit card,
XRP, RLUSD,
Apple Pay, et cetera, this will just be another form of payment in an instantaneous cash transfer. And so I think if it becomes regulatory okay, which it wasn't before, and that's one of the issues.
And that's the crucial point, okay? The reason why they haven't come out with all the things that they've already been working on is regulations. And I'm going to show you a little bit in a minute what they have been working on.
You'll see the banking system enter with. We have hundreds of patents on the blockchain already. We know how to enter the
hundreds of patents.
When you get to the investment side and the the Bitcoin stuff, that's really a separate question. That's more on the investment side. From the transactional side, I think you'll see the banking industry make moves.
Okay, so what he's saying there is they've been doing the research, they've been doing the technological end. They've got hundreds of patents, not tens, not dozens, hundreds of patents when it comes to transactions and blockchain. So they've been knee deep in this stuff, all right? Now, let me show you something interesting. Now, let's start with, JP Morgan, right? This article was written in 2023, right? BlackRock and JP Morgan are quietly laying the groundwork for the next Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and crypto price bull run, right? JP Morgan. This was when we were in the bear market, everybody panicking, everyone losing money. This is even before all of those videos that I just played you, before. So he didn't change his mind. This is what he was doing beforehand, and at the same time as going on national TV, on financial shows to talk dirty about Bitcoin and crypto. It's a fraud. They were laying the groundwork for the next bull run. They were buying the dip, okay? So this is from, look at his face, 2021 at the beginning of the crash, right? So JP Morgan launches in-house Bitcoin fund for private bank clients. 2021, we had alt season, prices were at all-time highs, and we were about to experience a massive crash, about to enter the bear market, right? At this point, this was 2021, JP Morgan was recommending Bitcoin to its private clients, right? And it did it right through the bear market, and it did it right up to today, and it's still doing it now. Yeah, a Bitcoin skeptic, quote unquote, selling Bitcoin. Now, tell me this, Jamie Dimon, if Bitcoin is a fraud, it's some sort of Ponzi scheme, you want the government to close it down, then why are you selling it? Okay? Why are you selling it to your clients? So either you're lying through your teeth and being deceptive and being an absolute reptile, which is kind of what you've been known to be for decades now, or you're selling a fraud to your clients. Either way, this is terrible. This is a bad look. So this is 2021. Now let's look back another 5 years or so, 6 years, 7 years before that. Top 30 banks and Mike Hearn have now joined R3 Global Consortium. Now the R3 Global Consortium was a conglomerate of many banks that were working as far back as 2012, 2010, something like that, to bring forth the new financial system. They were going to use financial rails at that time that were significantly similar, if not the same, as XRP's XRP ledger. Right? In fact, the consortium and Ripple were working hand in hand at the time, and the technology that they moved forward with was pretty much the XRP ledger forked into a different system. Now, something happened along the line with XRP allocation, and some of these consortium members sort of broke off or started doing their own thing, or I don't know what it was, right? But in those days, these were the banks that were part of the consortium: Goldman Sachs, Barclays, JP Morgan, State Street, UBS, Royal Bank of Scotland, Credit Suisse, BBVA, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, HSBC, Deutsche Bank, Citi, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, all right, Commerce Bank, Societe Generale, SEB, BNY Mellon, Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, National Australia Bank, Royal Bank of Canada, Toronto Dominion Bank, Mizuho Bank, Unicredit, Nordea, BNP Paribas, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, ING Bank, Macquarie Bank, and Wells Fargo & Co. The biggest banks in the world all came together with this XRP-esque technology, which they are still working on in the background, which they're going to unleash anytime soon. Now, whether or not it's going to be the actual XRP ledger, who knows? But I know that Ripple has a strong hold when it comes to this area. Okay? And things are about to happen. The regulations about to make way for these things to actually happen. As you heard the Bank of America CEO there, they have hundreds of patents and the technology is ready to go. The only thing in their way right now is the regulations. And the regulations are changing thanks to the new administration. And with the new America First outlook, this is going to happen sooner rather than later. Not financial advice, do your own research, but just don't listen to Jamie Dimon. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.